What up, everyone? It's your boy Red Hawk. It is 12:50 p.m. in the afternoon on Thursday, April 30, 2026, end of the month, and I am going to continue where I left off yesterday regarding my troubles with my biological dad and my stepmother. Where do I start? There's a lot of stories that I could tell you about everything. I gotta tell you, moving to Canoga Park, it started out alright. I was coming off of a heartbreaking period in my life where I got a D in my seventh grade English class at David Starr Jordan Middle School under Miss Laurie Cruz. That was like one of the first failures that I had, and I ended up crying to my mom, telling her that I'm a failure because I got a D in seventh grade English. Hell, my grandparents were infuriated too with me getting a D in seventh grade English. And so I had to make it up in summer school. Under it was under Mr. Christian Morosky, and I managed to get a B, the best passing grade that I could, in order for me to advance to eighth grade English wherever I went after Jordan. I ended up going to Christopher Columbus Middle School after that. By the way, so I digress. After a bit of a troubles here and there, especially with everybody, particularly with my little cousin Kyle, because yeah, he had been getting attention from the adults around that time more than me, who was experiencing bigger problems because of my parents' divorce. Yeah, I had to basically make a really crucial choice: either stay in that old house in 442 North Parish Place between Magnolia Boulevard and Clark Avenue, or make a fateful decision and move in with my biological dad in Canoga Park. At first, he pretty much lied to me. He told me that we were going to move to San Diego, but it turns out we were moving to San Diego. When I saw a white apartment complex by Sataquai Street and Topanga Canyon in Canoga Park, I knew something was off. But then again, I played along because my future was at stake, so to speak. I got settled in my apartment. Bio dad was actually kind enough to uh, build a makeshift bedroom for me, which had like these Japanese style curtain walls that covered maybe 30% of a studio apartment. And I had my own mini bed, not exactly a queen bed, but something a little bit smaller than that, which I was able to sleep all right on anyway. There were times when I would play on the computer. We had Windows XP back then in 2002, and I would pop up my computer emulators for Super Nintendo, like the Z SNES, and play games like Earthworm Jim, uh, The Tick, some Ren and Stimpy games. And whenever my stepmom would watch me play those video games, we would have a laugh, especially when I was controlling the tick in the video game of the said superhero. Every time Tick performs some kind of attack would that would be quite effortless, like snapping an enemy, flicking an enemy with his fingers, my stepmom would have a great laugh. There was also Red and Stimpy, the Vidiots, in which there was this episode called. It was the first mission based on the episode called "The Boy Who Cried Wolf," I think. It involved Ren getting into Stimpy's mouth and dodging some foul cavity gases and other uh, molecular threats. And so, Stepmom had a great laugh on that. It was a little bit of a fun times that we had, and on top of any other kindness that Bio Dad showed me. But for the most part, all those good memories, they were overshadowed by instances of abuse. Instances of abuse. I'm going to give you the ratio here. 50% good times, 85% bad times when I was under Bio Dad and Stepmom. Where can I start? Come freshman year, Bio Dad was being manipulated by Stepmom. When I told both of them that I was going to be a fighter pilot and go to the Naval Academy or Air Force Academy to basically become a military officer through either the U.S. Navy, U.S. Marine Corps, or U.S. Air Force, and then train to become a pilot and hopefully get my wings and get jets, basically. Like either the F-15 Eagle or the F-18 Hornet or the F-22 Raptor or the F-16 Falcon. They just laughed at me and said that I was never going to make it. Instead, sometimes I would talk to Bio Dad about this kind of stuff again, and in Tagalog he would say, "Oh, magnificent feels gonna lang iho," which basically means go to the medical field because that's a sure way to make money. Well, guess what? I don't have the competencies or the gut to become a medical expert. At the sight of a patient's innards, I freeze. Hell, I don't even remember medical terms, including medicine and diseases, after reading them for a couple of seconds. And so I ruled the medical field out because that's just not me. I was more into aviation and facilities and flying, which is why to this day I still yearn to sign my enlistment papers in the Army to become a 15 uniform Chinook helicopter mechanic and air crewman. If not a fighter pilot or a helicopter pilot in the military service. But then again, who knows? Maybe the Army will raise its maximum age to 42 for the Warrant Officer Flight Training Program, or WOF. Just wishful thinking as of now, by the way. And so back to Canoga Park. Instances of abuse. Well, they included random slaps out of nowhere. And basically, Bio Dad just taking away my CD player or my playtime with my newly bought PlayStation 2. I could not believe what he did with my PlayStation 2. He would pop in these DVDs of not church sermons, but a private lecture from a priest to a select audience regarding God and his principles and how uh, it intertwines with science, basically. And my dad would study that like religiously. A little bit of pun intended. That was annoying for me. It doesn't really help that my stepmother, every time we go to a church sermon under Pastor Norman on Sundays at Word International Ministries in Van Nuys by Silmar Avenue, that I would hear her mutter, "Worship you, Jesus," like hypocritically, because she was a very abusive shrew. Oh yeah, the B word is more appropriate to describe her. That universal infamous B word is more appropriate to describe her, by the way. And then whenever she sings gospel songs like "I belong to you," "Your love endures forever," "The love of God has set me free," I get so annoyed because here is not a woman, but a demonic creature that abuses children by psychological means. Almost like a video game boss, if you will. Mind you. Anyway, I didn't learn about her manipulation of biodad until a little bit later in life. When I started to study the patterns of my past. Like, for example, when it's like this is like months after biodad met stepmom. When he caught wind of me in seventh grade at David Starr Jordan Middle School, failing my audio test, he pretty much took away that one VHS tape that I used to watch of me, home videos when I was a kid, uh, pictures of me in different scenes, just trying to enjoy myself and play with various toys that my grandmother and one of my uncles gave me, and interacting with my cousins. Those were my motivations to basically get thin and fit because I was a miserable fat little pipsqueak back then. And he took away that video when, upon hearing me failing the audio test. You want to know why I failed the audio test? Because I overthought on what the prompt was saying about some kind of child in a bakery. I tried to give the proctor the right answer, but I overthought and I froze in place. And Biodad was so disappointed with that. He made a big deal out of it, and I don't like it. Anyway, sorry about that. Anyway, yeah, that was the time. I should have seen the symptoms of him being manipulated by my stepmother around then, but I didn't. And that was one of the leading factors too why I am now known as Minato. And basically turned Japanese. I know, quote, the vapors. Da 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 da. Go ahead, laugh. But it's half funny, half serious, I'm telling you. The madness didn't stop there. 20 years ago, in 2006, oh, by the way, I have my trusty little logbook. I wrote a good deal of what I'm about to tell you back in 2006. It was right around June. Where do I start here? It involved a water dispenser. Part of my responsibility in our little apartment in Canoga Park was refilling the water dispenser with the 20 to 30 gallon water jugs, blue transparent ones that we used to order at a nearby water servicing place. And when one time I didn't, long story short, one time I didn't fulfill my responsibility, so to speak, and I understand where he was going with this now. Biodad threatened to deport me to the Philippines because I didn't fulfill my responsibility. I cried waterfalls. I told him I was going to run away and live with one of my high school friends, Mario. It was uncontrollable, and I think I might have found myself screaming a few times for him to stop doing what he was doing. He called up my stepmom and one of our mutual friends, who happened to be the grandmother of the Filipina girl that he attempted to set me up with. We discussed about my future. We discussed about where I was headed, like just wanting to join the army. It didn't happen. It didn't help too that Biodad even threatened to have me uh, drop out of high school and join the army with a GED, which pretty much to me entails being labeled as a dumb, big oaf, which I didn't want ever. A few days, I don't know what, I don't remember exactly what came off of that discussion, but the next day, Stepmom and I had a really hypocritical, empty, heart to heart talk in which she discussed about my future. I didn't say anything. All I could think about was joining either the Army or the Navy back then. Just so I could get away from her and Bio Dad. The abuse just didn't end there. I'm trying to gather a little bit of my thoughts here. The bright side, it's been 20 years since then. I'm still alive. I wasn't like my one of my younger uncles who took the easy way out when I got deployed to the Pacific back in 2009. I'm signing my enlistment papers within a matter of months. And I gotta say, I don't have a GED. By earning two associates and a bachelor's degree, I can wholeheartedly say that I actually beat bio dad and stepmom in life. And if I, bio dad, and one of my elder uncles were to have a heart to heart discussion, just the three of us, not on social media, not in a restaurant somewhere, just really quiet, like in a rather quiet room with three chairs, I would ask one of my uncles to tell Biodad this. You put your son through so much hell when he was growing up. I'm gonna have to ask you not to do that anymore. Granted, Biodad may get angry or even extremely defensive about this, but my uncle and I can only hope that he'd reach a sense of understanding of what I had been through, starting from not even when I was 12 years young in 2001, but way before that. This is the 17.5 minute mark of the video. I think I've said too much, and my mind has practically gone blank. So I'll leave you with this, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you've learned something from this video. And to those that are aspiring to be parents out there, I wish you the best of luck and hope that you do not act like my biological father in particular. Thanks so much. Red Hawk, out. Peace.